Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we'll talk about the psychology of selling, of buying, how to sell anything to your customers so that you don't have to push for that sale. They'll want to buy. And at the end we'll see, why people hate being sold to, how to stop doing that, and why people love to buy and get them to buy your products. So if you're interested in that, please keep on watching. Before we talk about how to sell, we need to talk about why people buy, right? This is about the buyer psychology. It's not about the seller. This is the point here, is that mainstream selling for a long time has been focused on the seller, right? The seller is pushing for the sale. The seller is telling you about the urgency, about the scarcity. They're trying to make you buy, which that's why, it's a bit intimidating going into a car dealership or going into Best Buy or something, where you feel like you have the pressure to buy, right? Even when people just say hi to you, as a general courtesy, it feels a little bit scary for some. And I think in 2020, in the modern era, people are a lot more sophisticated. The consumer doesn't really respond to the scarcity and the urgency in the same way that they used to do maybe 20, 50 years ago, right? So the focus here really is to make sure that you can use your brand in a respectable way, and you don't have to use those spammy tactics in order for people to buy. So let's talk about the buyer psychology first. Number one, people buy solutions to their problems, not a product, not a service, not whatever it is that you're offering, right? They focus on themselves and how they can make their lives better. And that's why people say, make something people want, right? That's the easiest way to get someone to buy from you, is that if you already have something that they want. Most of us, when we start businesses, we have an idea. We have a technology that we want to work with. We have a product in mind, right? And we bring that into the world because we wanted to do it. What's missing in the 80% of businesses that fail in the first year is that they don't connect what they want with what the customer wants. Like, how do you bridge the two gaps, right? 80+% of the reason for why startups fail in their first year is because there is no connection to what the consumer wants. Number two, people don't like change. Status quo is very comfortable. And actually we have a longevity bias where we automatically assume what's been around for a long time is right and good. Doesn't mean it is, but that's just the automatic assumption that we have. It's like when we see it's expensive, so it must be of a certain quality compared to something cheaper. So as a new business, it's more difficult to compete with the more established businesses. There has been studies done on this. One is chocolate taste testing. Chocolates were all from a no-name brand, but one group of people were told that this was from an established brand existing for decades, and the other one were told that it's from a new company that's come up with this chocolate and haven't launched yet. Exactly the same chocolates. People who thought that it was from an established business thought the chocolate tasted better. That's the longevity bias that we all have in us, and that's what makes it more difficult for new businesses. Now, you might say that actually startups are all the rage right now, right? People like startups, and people are finding big companies not so authentic. So what's up with that? And that brings us to number three. Number three, people buy based on emotions and then justify with logic. So how many people have experienced somewhere where they know it's probably not the right decision, but you impulse buy, you get it anyway. And a lot of the time, the reason why we buy is because of our emotions, the irrationality in us, right? Humans are rational, but many times we're irrational at the same time, and we try to bridge those two by making decisions with our heart rather than thinking with our head, right? Things like that. So for example, if I wanted to buy a Tesla, my reason for buying the Tesla is not that it's more fuel efficient, that it's maybe cheaper, it's whatever. It's because I want to be seen as cool, hip, someone who is in the know, who is modern, who's with the times, right? Who's, a part of Elon Musk and his vision for the world of living on Mars. That's why I want to buy a Tesla. It's not because it saves me, couple of $100s at the end of the month. I mean, that's probably the reasons I'll use to tell, I don't know, my mom about why I'm getting this car instead of the cheap Toyota, for example. Right? So we buy with our emotions and then we justify it with logic. And that's why, startups, they have a great vision. And that's why vision is important. Building communities is important because vision touches the heart, tugs the heartstrings, and that's why we move with movement, right? Like we want to contribute to a movement, we want to belong and be seen as cool, as hip, as whatever it is that we're trying to be. Buying organic is not just about the environment, about health. Of course, those are real benefits. But for some people, it's just that, that's a lifestyle that I aspire to because cool people do that too. So there is an emotional element that is crucial to the buying process and to the buying mind that we have to take into account. Number 4, people buy when they trust. If you had all the money in the world, would you go on Virgin Galactic to space commercially as a holiday? Some of you might say yes, but a lot of us will say, I'm not sure. Is this safe? We've seen plenty of rocket launches that had gone wrong. Have they thought through everything? Are they really ready to send people up to space? There are so many questions. So sometimes money is not the problem. Most of the time, it's about trust. This is why satisfaction guarantee exists. This is why people try to give you, however many day money back, just so that we can lower this trust barrier that is very, very high, even when the price is low. We're always wondering, is this really for me? Is it actually going to do what it says it's going to do? All of these questions, when we have already added the thing to cart, something takes us back and we don't press buy. Right? It's very, very difficult to part with our money, not knowing whether or not we're really going to get what we paid for. So when we are selling, we have to make sure that we establish that trust. That's why influencer marketing works now, because we're basically buying that trust by getting someone that's trusted to promote our products. But as we've seen now, a lot of people are more suspicious of brand deals, of sponsored posts, sponsored videos, right? So it's that trust is very difficult to earn, but once you earn it, it's gold. Number 5, no one cares about what anyone has to offer if they don't know why it's relevant to them. Even if we're solving a problem, even we're solving their specific problem, if they think it's not relevant to them and there are a million other people who do the same thing, it's very difficult to get their attention. For example, if you're buying a cell phone and you embody the Apple vision, the Apple ideals, you don't even care what Sony has to offer, what LG has to offer, what Samsung has to offer. They have nothing to do with you. Those people that use those phones have nothing to do with you. It's not relevant to you. That's why you don't look at it and you just wait for the next new iPhone to launch. So how do you sell then? You let the customer convince themselves. You are just there as a guide. The customer is the one that actually needs to spend the time to think through everything and think that you are the one for them. It's not to push them to do it quickly, they will say no if you push them to do it quickly, because that's now how they decide. If you push them too far, they will say, okay, no, I need time to think about this. Clearly, this is not right for me because I'm afraid that I'll make the wrong decision. So it's really to get them to convince themselves and know that in the end, it is a good match, because in the end, it should be a good match. What you are selling should actually help the customer achieve whatever it is that they want to do, right? I'm not talking about selling scams. I'm talking about businesses, legitimate businesses trying to sell their products, their services. There is a win-win situation when, someone solves their problem and they do it cheaply with whatever it is that you're doing, right? The value of what you're offering is always more than the price of your product or your service. So what to do? Number 1, ask questions and let the customers talk, share. Let them share about what's going on in their lives. That's how they open up. That's how they trust you, that's how you know what they need help with, right? So you have to be the one that's asking questions, not telling them about the features of everything that is in your product, not about the benefits. That's it all. Before any of that, you don't even know what they care about. So let them do the talking and you just ask them questions. Number 2, find out what the customer wants to change and why they want to change it. Both are very important, right? We're selling something because it brings a change. If it's a keyboard, that means it's a different way of typing than previously, right? Maybe if I was on my laptop, it was very uncomfortable. I buy a cool gamer keyboard where its ergonomics are good and I can type better, so I don't have arthritis in my arms later on in life, right? That's the change. The change I want is the way I type, and why I want it is because I don't want to get arthritis. All of a sudden, you know exactly how to sell to me and to bring me to the right features of this keyboard because I just told you what I want. Now you can show the benefits, right? And how the benefits outweigh the cost of change, right? Maybe the keyboard is $100. That sounds like a lot, but if you got arthritis, it's gonna not ever heal and you'll have to be on pain pills or something, right? So the benefit is a lot more than the cost, right? This is how you work in the urgency of buying, right? Not with a countdown of the sale ends tomorrow. That might work, might not work, but the real urgency to push someone to buy is that they understand that they need to make that change now, that it's in their benefit to make that change now, right? So that's where the more sophisticated urgency comes in. Number 3, understanding what the impact really is of having this problem in someone's life. Let's say I did have, and I do, have very sore forearms from working at home and not having an ergonomic setup. So how is that really affecting my emotions? Actually, it's giving me a really hard time sleeping. I'm having pains here as well as my neck, my shoulders, and so because I don't sleep very well, I get very grumpy during the day and I get very impatient with people at work, with my loved ones. I don't feel so good about that and I feel like a terrible person. I just want to fix that. That's the emotional impact, is that I'm taking it out on other people when it's not their fault. And all I need to do is buy a new keyboard or a new mouse, or probably both. Now I've convinced myself, okay, this is what I need to do next, right? I need to buy a new keyboard and a new mouse so that I won't be angry at the people around me for no reason. Number 4 is giving someone the reason to trust. Now you've already been building that trust throughout the process of focusing on them, not pushing any products or services on them. So already you're building that trust, but things like product guarantees, satisfaction guarantees, all of these things and any other ways that work in your industry of guaranteeing people will be satisfied is another way to make sure that the sale works, is that you're talking to all of the decision makers, that that everyone is happy and are ready to go forward and they have that trust in you. Number 5, help people see the results on themselves. So it's very similar to try on clothes at a clothing store. It's how will they look? How will they feel? What does the future you look like once you've made that change and had the results? So if you're, let's say, a PT selling fitness programs, help people feel that confidence when they feel that they look good. Help them see how proud they are when they have achieved that goal with you. Right? It's to get them to see where they want to be. And again, right, this is one of the ways to work in the urgency of, oh yes, I do want to be like that. I don't want to wait around for another year not achieving my, let's say, weight goals or muscle gain or whatever it is that they're looking for. By doing these 5 things, you don't have to push for any sales. You don't have to trick anyone into doing anything. You don't have to feel awkward about selling anything that you have, because you are just there to help someone get to their results, and you have the answer, you have the solution to get them where they want to be, right? It's not sleazy, it's not creepy, it's not spammy. You don't have to push them to do anything. Now, if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. I think we all need more businesses to stop pushing us to make decisions on the spot. Selling doesn't have to be sleazy. We are in the modern era. There is a better way of doing it. So if you're interested in more tips, you can sign up to my newsletter. I'll upload videos twice a week, and see you next time. Bye.